The Victorian IPRA Club Championship is proudly brought to you by Yokohama and Traction Tyre Centre, DLL Photography and Design, Newline Homes celebrating 10 years of sponsorship, 888 Home Loans, and Melbourne Car Kennel for all your automotive storage needs.
G'day everybody, Steve DeVries here. Welcome to 2020, welcome to Sandown, welcome to the beginning of a new IPRA Victorian Club Championship. The new year brings a lot of excitement with everybody itching to get their cars back onto track, but already there's a really different feel about it this year. A new club point structure, new drivers, new cars, new bits on people's cars, drivers coming back into the club championship. Couple that with the muggy 20s of February as opposed to last year's scorching 40-degree temperatures in March, a bit of rain overhead, and on top of that, the revised Turn 6. I mean, have a look at it. A lot of drivers are going to be seeing this for the first time this weekend. But no talking point is bigger than the absence of both of our club champions from last year. And from our records, believe it or not, it's the first time since 2010 that such an event of that nature has occurred. So with all that in play, it looks really set to be an interesting round one to the club championship. So there's only one thing left to do. Let's go racing!
Well, it was a tricky qualifying session for the first round of the season. The man who mastered those conditions the best was Troy Lloyd. Troy, it wasn't easy out there. There's a few times we caught you on the slide a little bit, but at the moment you've pipped Matty Logan to pole position.
Yeah, it was certainly challenging out there. Still having a lot of trouble getting traction down on the bumps coming onto the front straight here, but we're working on that. We had a plan for that qualifying, obviously being wet, and we were hoping it was going to dry out, which it started to. And Stephen, my brother, who's been here, done it before, he said just stay out there and keep putting the laps down and let the track come to you. And it did. I think it was on the last lap or second last lap before the checking flag came out that we snatched it by 0.6, I think, of a second. So, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, 0.6 of a second in the end, and literally right at the death. Like the clock had struck zero, and you banked in the lap time that pipped Matty down to second place. But it's a good front row start for him and a good front row start for you. And you're right, over the course of the qualifying session, the times did start to tumble as that dry line started to come along. What was it like with the setup? Obviously, you said you went out for a wet setup. What sort of things did you have to change to tailor yourself to the conditions a little bit?
Basically, we just put tyre pressures up. Really just the basics. Tyre pressures up, soft sway bars, a lot of driver coaching just to have a bit of fun, and where you end up. So it was a lot of fun. I scared myself a couple of times, which is good, and really happy to come away with a pole position. Didn't think we were going to get it, to be honest. There's a lot of fast cars here and good drivers, so to pip them, not to sound arrogant, but to beat fast cars and fast drivers, we're pretty chuffed.
Yeah, fast cars and fast drivers indeed. There's 8 V8s in the top 10 and a couple knocking on the door as well. So it's going to be a hotly contested race one. Best of luck, and fingers crossed, I guess, that the rain holds off a little bit.
We certainly are, mate. And we're probably like a lot. Just we've got to get these big heavy cars off the line. There's a lot of small cars behind us. So if it's wet like it is now, it's come back in again. Where we'll do what we can do. Have fun.
It's a front row start for Matty Logan. The first time he's had a front row start here at Sandown. Much like Troy Lloyd, it wasn't easy, mate, but you held the top spot for quite a while there.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't expecting that one, but I'll take it while I can get it. So, yeah.
Well, you've been on the top 10 for most of last year. Whenever we seem to look up and down the field, you're always battling away there with people like Mark DeFarnis and Taranto and co, and always in the top 10. Is these the kind of conditions that you like to run in, or would you much prefer the dry?
I think I prefer the dry, but, you know, the wet's not good, but I don't think some of the other people hate it a little bit more than me, so it sort of stands out a little bit better than that, yeah.
What about race one this afternoon? Your front row, you've got a pair of Commodores behind you, one beside you. It's going to be a bit of a hotly contested affair into turn one, would you think?
I think so. It's all about managing the wheel spin off the line and getting into turn one.
Tony, 12 months ago, let's take a trip down memory lane here. You told us that the E90 was coming when you had the E36. Now, 12 months later, it's resplendent and it's finally here.
It's finally here. It's been a long gestation period, but it's on the track. Very happy today. Bit greasy out there, but great day for me. So tomorrow, hopefully, it's just up and beyond. But looks, the car's going very, very well. A few minor issues, but very, very happy. Very happy.
Well, let's speak about one of these issues, the Dorian. Yesterday, we did see the Dorian was strapped to the front of the grille of this car, and look, to be honest, it was a bit embarrassing.
I had no wire cutters. It was a bit embarrassing. I didn't know the Dorian didn't work if you didn't have it in the right position. We've got through it, but I think Cams are going to be sending me either a fine or a nasty letter, one of the two. So we'll see what happens.
We hope it's not going to happen, mate. Pray for our sake it's not going to happen.
No, but it's back on deck properly. The car's fine, so big day tomorrow.
Finally, talk to us about the step up. So it's gone from the inline 6 to the V8, and probably the most modern of the BMWs that's here on the grid.
Correct. Look, it's a completely different machine. This particular car has been run IPRA Queensland for about 4 years by a guy called Justin Wade, and he's done a lot of good work, but it's a completely different car to drive. Power band's fantastic, so it just needs the driver to match the car, because I think the car's quite willing and ready.
You'll think it'll come to you over the course of time, mate. Good to see you back and good to see some new weapons on track.
No worries. Good to be here. Thanks, guys.
Ash Wright's making his return to IPRA this weekend. Started 7th, Ash. Made your way up to P2 by the end of that first race. Not a bad effort.
Yeah, had a great race, mate. Just plucked them off one at a time, raced smart, and used the cars, good points, the brakes and everything else, and yeah, had a great race.
You had a good battle with Matty Logan, Troy Lloyd. Those guys are certainly taking the fight up to you, but I mean, the last time we saw your car, it actually had the disintegration of the flywheel and the bonnet. She wasn't in a pretty state.
No, not at all, mate. It was down at Honda in Phillip Island. Half the flywheel came out through the bonnet, and yeah, bits and pieces. So new gearbox, new flywheel, of course, and yeah, she's going well.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, we're going to digress for a little bit here, talking about something completely different to IPRA. One thing that you're going to have under your belt this year is you're going to be the team manager for Michael Clementi's TCR car. Talk to us in a high level about what that's going to be like.
Yeah, it's pretty full on, and going to love doing it this year. Had a fair bit to do with motorsport over the years, so going to be really enjoy giving back to the sport, and a young kid that's really good. The kid's got talent. We're sort of doing it as a with Brown Davis and Worth. We've got those sponsors on board with him as well. AGP Asia Cup Championship round 1 in 2 weeks' time. Really looking forward to it, but it's been a really busy off season in the summer. Obviously prepping my car and prepping his car as well, testing everything. We're trying to do it all together so that I can be at both and not take so much time away from the family.
No, brilliant. Good to see that you're giving back to this motorsport in the same way that a lot of us as volunteers give back to the sport as well. So we wish you the best of luck with that. We wish you the best of luck for this weekend as well.
Thanks, mate. Really enjoy it. Cheers.
Andrew, great to see you and the team from Traction Tyres here at Sandown for round one of the club championship. Not only supplying to a number of other categories, but also long-term supply deal for here in Victoria for IPRA members.
Absolutely. We've been doing this for a long, long time now. We've been tied up as a control tyre supplier for Victorian IPRA almost 20 years, and of course it's been a national agreement now for about 17 as well. So plenty to do and a complicated and interesting way to go about it, but lots of sizes, but love doing it. Fantastic, great category.
Yeah, it certainly is, and one of the things that the club has been great for over a long period of time now actually is the recognition that it provides to yourself as a supplier here in Victoria, and on top of that it culminates really well at the end of every year with cracking Matthew Flinders plate races, which Yokohama and Traction Tyres have been proud sponsors of for a long time also.
Absolutely, it really is a partnership, not just a commercial operation, and it's a category that is very diverse, and look at the strengths and the popularity and how it grew in the last 20 years has been absolutely fantastic, and all the input of Victorian IPRA has been a major contributor to that. So we're great to be on board for such a long time, great to have that partnership with them. It's awesome.
We're really fortunate that all of our sponsors from 2019 have carried over to 2020, and one of those sponsors is celebrating 10 years of continuous sponsorship to the IPRA Victorian category. So we're here with Rick and Julie Newman from New Line Homes. Rick, you're a former club champion in 2007. You've still got a passion for all things IP, despite the fact you've moved on to some bigger things, but it's a labour of love for a lot of these cars, and 10 years is certainly a labour of love in the sponsorship too.
Yes, very proud to be chalking up 10 years and the longest membership or sponsorship of the IP category. These guys are just a fantastic bunch of guys. Yes, we might run something a little bit faster at the moment, but by the middle of this year we'll have the old AU, the dirty old AU, ready to campaign in 21. We're going to head up to Darwin with a bit of luck and have a crack up there and run it all in and make sure it's all fine for next year. We might give Troy Lloyd and Damien Milano a bit of a run for their money. But yeah, look, the sports sedans guys, it's not a bad category. It's good to go fast in, but these guys are just, IP is such a nice family, close-knit bunch of community of guys. Everybody helps everybody else out, and that's why we like to be a part of it. It's very similar to how we base our business.
Well, speaking of family, Julie, you got your young son here this weekend as well. Talk to us about the family club that's being sponsored, because we know what it means to the club to have sponsors, but talk about sponsoring a family-oriented club like IP Vic.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be around everybody and the family and everyone a part of the club. They're just really lovely to be around, so we really enjoy sponsoring it.
Well, in recognition of 10 years of continuous sponsorship, the club's produced the very special New Line Home celebrating 10 years. So with respect to all the guys that have come on and sponsored the category over the course of time, a massive thank you on behalf of IP Vic for continuing on for 10 years of sponsorship. Looking forward to the future.
Thank you. It's
thank you.
Yeah, really nice to see the bit of a token gesture that the club's put on. It's really appreciated.
13's an unlucky number for some, but for this weekend it adorns a Sylvia S13 belonging to Paul Cruz. Paul, you got your brother Michael, who's a former club and state champion on the tools this time, so it's a bit of a reversal of roles that you're not used to.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm really happy that we're here with the car. It's been a bit of work. We bought a car after we retired the Escort, hoping to be not off track for too long. It turned out a little bit longer than we hoped, but we're here and loving it.
Great. On top of that, the car's been going pretty well this weekend, aside from a few small mechanical gremlins that befuddled you in qualifying and in race 1, but you're back toward the pointy end for race number 3 this afternoon.
Yeah, unfortunately we broke a rocker in qualifying. That happened pretty early on, so the time in qualifying wasn't indicative of our true pace, and then in the haste to repair the car, we made a small mistake and developed a misfire in the first race there, so unfortunately resulted in a DNF. But race 2 went well, and I came from last on the grid to 11th, so looking forward to the final race now.
Yeah, before that race 2, you were telling me you were targeting 10th, so you've done pretty well to get up to just about where you were hoping to get. So your pace is pretty good, actually. You're matching about the 1:19s, which is similar pace to what we're seeing from some of the guys up front. So hopefully you can make a good fist of it in this last race.
Yeah, I think 18.5 is probably its potential at the moment. It's just hard when you're in traffic to get a clear run. But I was happy enough to get, there was a lap in the middle of that second race, so I wasn't too impeded, and did a 19.0, so it's sort of towards what I think cars capable of, what I'm capable of in the car at the moment. So yeah, so far so good. Yeah.
One of the new members to the category this weekend's Jared Tonks, who's holding his own quite well up the front of the grid at the moment in the top 6. Jared, how's your weekend panned out so far? From where I've been sitting in the commentary box, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. I was hoping to be the first weekend, maybe run top 10 if possible, so top 6 is good at the moment. Yeah, really happy.
Well, a little while ago you did build a car that you were hoping to run in IP, but unfortunately didn't fit within the regs. But some of the gear has made its way into this Commodore since you stepped up from saloons last year.
Yeah, ran sports sedans for a couple of years in another chassis, and shifted a lot of the stuff from that car into this car with a chassis that would suit the rules of improved production. So yeah, and just added a few new pieces as well that didn't come across that wouldn't fit. So no, it's been good. It's good to make a category car now and run amongst the guys in this category. It's good racing.
So across the course of the weekend, you've finished 6th in both the races so far, so pretty respectable to begin with. If you can keep that there for the third race, you'd be pretty happy with your weekend, I take it?
Yeah, I'd be happy with 3 in the top 6 if I can. There's a few coming from a bit further back, so just hope to make a good start again, and being a bit shorter race might help as well. It gets a bit hot near the end, so yeah, top 10, I'll take a top 10 in the third race would be good. Right. Yep.
There are a plethora of new cars here this weekend for the first round of our club championship. One of them is in the hands of Jim West. Jim, you've moved up from the E30 to an E36 with the engine from an E46, so pretty impressive combination. How's it going this weekend?
It's going really, really well. It's a lovely car. It's really, really well put together. Feels really solid, feels really planted. I'm having a great time.
It is a fast step up from the E30, gone from the 4-cylinder to the straight 6, and I guess you're just feeling your way with this car this weekend, aren't you? Not setting the timing screens alight, but I guess that's more about getting some confidence in the car for coming rounds?
Yeah, it's a completely different car to drive to the E30. I had an E30 for about 8 years, so I'm just figuring out how to get the best out of this one. Hey, look, I have a very simple philosophy for this. Stay safe, have fun, and maybe go a bit quicker. So we'll try and do that.
It's the same philosophy that a lot of guys actually have, just to make sure they come to the track for a little bit of fun. Good to see you're out here having some fun, and good to see that you're doing it with a pretty nice package put together as well. Hope to see more of you this year.
Yeah, thank you. And look, and thanks to all the sponsors. Without them, this category couldn't happen. Particularly thank you to New Line Homes for 10 years sponsoring the category. And thanks also to everybody here in the club that puts all this together. They're great weekends.
drivers doing some really, really good results this weekend. One of them is Ian McLennan and his Pro Cut Tree Services Monaro. Pair of fourth places across the first two races, mate, and the happiest I've seen you for a while with your PBs.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's been good just to get some reliability into the car, just the ability to hopefully, knock on wood, finish out the weekend by finishing all three races. So just getting a bit of continuity with the results there through a bit more reliability in the car, I think, yeah.
Well, speaking of reliability, one of the things you've done in the recent few months is move the car over to Dean Lilly and the crew at Ravage Raceworks, and I'm sure they've put a lot of reliability and help together and makes your life as driver at the weekend a little bit easier.
Yeah, Dean's been a good help. A little bit of driver coaching there, but a lot of the prep work, obviously, but also the way they run the weekend by taking care of the car, making sure everything's running right the whole weekend rather than me being on the tools all the time. It's just made it a lot easier for me to focus on going out there and doing what I need to do. So, they're a great crew down at Ravage, and they've been a big help.
Beautiful. Well, one more race to go. And what do you reckon about trying to hang on to the back of Ash Wright's Commodore? You game, or you're just going to have to see how you go?
I'll give it a crack, mate. That's what we're out there for. We're out there to win. So, I'll just go out there, mate. Hopefully I can get a good start and we'll see how we go.
Under 2 litre round winner for season 2020, round number 1 is Paul Javots. Paul, going into race number 3 there, you were actually behind Kev Coulson in terms of the points, but you came out on top in that one and you've taken round honours.
Yeah, it was a good race. Unfortunately, it looked like there was an incident with Kevin's car, and I was trying to look for him to see where he was. I was expecting to have a really close race, but it never panned out that way. So also with Mark Baldwin this morning was a bad thing with him. So, so I was really happy with the win for the weekend. So looking forward to the next round.
Yeah, speaking of Mark Baldwin, you did have a good battle with him in race number 1 yesterday and took it right up to him, a late pass, and you did have a battle going with him right up until Kev Coulson took honours in race number 2. So you got 2 wins out of 3 for the weekend, which is pretty respectable.
Yeah, really happy with that. Had a great time. Weather was really good today, so looking forward to it, maybe the rest of the season like this, and we'll see how it works out.
Here with our round 1 winner, Damien Milano. Damien, wasn't easy at the end of the day. Troy Lloyd gave you a fair run for your money there in race 2, but you've taken the chocolates overall for the weekend.
Yeah, no, it's good to get that win in the final race. He definitely took it us first. He's had some good consistent pace in his car, so credit to him.
So talk to us a little bit about the car, because the last time we saw you up at Winton, you did have some engine dramas there in race 3. It's held together pretty well at what would deem to be one of the tracks that really would test the horsepower and everything underneath the bonnet of this car.
Yes, so we've done a bit of a rebuild there, and thanks to Danny Engines, we've got a new mill under the hood, and it performed faultlessly this weekend. So we can't comment any further other than that was great.
Good to see you back in the field. Good to see you back up the pointy end. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of you later on in the year. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap for round 1 of the Club Championship for 2020. And if you're a fan of Holden and horsepower, then this meet was certainly for you. Damien Milano took out round honours, but this man behind me certainly gave him a run for his money every step of the way and did manage to take a race win on him at one point as well. Our next round is Winton Motor Raceway at the end of March, so for Improved Production Club members, make sure you go north, not south to Phillip Island like we have done in recent years gone by. It's actually the first round in a number of years, or first time in a number of years actually, that Winton has hosted the second round of our Club Championship. I'll be there. I hope you'll be there to watch along with me. As you can tell, we've had 4 seasons in one weekend because I'm as red as a beetroot and it's time to go. So, like always, please drive safely out there on the roads and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.